So it has come to this. Alright.
So does this one suck?
Let's just say this is before Ubisoft hit.
Okay. First of all, welcome to War Within. For all these welcome, maybe War With. Okay, Pedro. You know how you raised some legitimate complaint about the first game?
Sure.
I mean, okay, Ubisoft, after doing that and seeing it was successful, said, we can make a profit out of this, so what are we gonna do? Let's chase what's popular at the time. What's popular at the time? God of War. So let's make our game violent, grey, and with rock music every 5 seconds. And edgy.
That sounds like...
Actually, Tio, objection. Warrior Within came out a few months before God of War.
Well, it was still in development.
Whatever, the point is, they decided to sell out
Make
the
these
newest
edgy.
trends.
Okay.
So you're telling me that this is the Jack 2 of the franchise?
Or the Shadow that, more appropriately, the Shadow the Hedgehog.
See, here's the thing. Whether or not you consider it trendy
you
of
even
them...
have an option to turn on and off the blood.
Okay.
Okay. Whether or not they were trying to get with the times, be hip or whatnot, everyone can agree this one huge problem. They changed a lot of the fundamentals.
And for the worse, it's not even a case, oh, it's better this way. The only thing that improved is the combat, but here's the problem. The combat overall still sucks, and this series was never about the combat first place.
Yeah,
Even
it's one of those
previous
weird...
wasn't.
Trust me, I'm using easy mode, and I'm doing a favor to all of you. So we start a couple of years after the events of the first game. The prince now is in Babylonia, the capital of the Persian kingdom, but it's chased by someone or something.
Gotta keep one jump ahead of the bread line, ahead of the
You
sword.
wish, Nova.
Is
One of the things...
are the voice
Oh,
cast?
wow, what the hell? Wolf?
Tio, are
No,
the voice
it's-
cast?
Oh, give me a second. Can you repeat me that, please?
The voice cast still the same?
No, but I'll tell you in a second who's who.
But we have to get
it's
some
not a
new
big
voice
deal.
actors to fit the
It's
dark
not-
mood.
Yeah, it's not a big deal because the only returning character is the prince. Everyone else is new. But they changed his voice actor and I'll say later who it is and what I think about it. For now, the prince is he needs to run away from apparently the black smoke from Lost.
Oh.
What's weird is that, unlike
Is he running away from the nothing from the never-ending story?
You wish.
What's weird is that, unlike cases like, say,
And cut.
Wait, what?
and now we go to
Yeah.
a ship in the middle of the
Let's just
sea.
completely ignore that scene and just pretend the prince survived that thing.
It's not even a flashback or anything. We're literally just left to assume he survived it because now we flash forward to him on a ship.
Wait, what?
No,
Subtitle.
Okay.
If you haven't noticed, the new voice actor for the prince at King Dolls, who you may recognize it from. Yeah, you may recognize it from Master Miller from recent Metal Gear games. Travis Tasham for No More Heroes, Fortress 2. And to be fair,
And he was
here
Doomsday in
it does a
DVS.
to be fair, here it does a decent job, but the script has to work is so terrible.
yeah.
You're just gonna have to judge it for yourself, but trust me on this one. So the prince is directed somewhere in the ship placed by pirates of all things. Because that's what I want to steam Prince of Persia, am I right?
Sure, why not?
I don't know.
By the way, the thing that's going is from the last game. Remember, he kept it.
Yep. Continuity. Yeah, which is weird. Unlike
Yay.
a lot of the dark...
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Did Michael Bay take over? What the hell?
Yeah, this overly sexualized female pirate is the leader of the pirates. You're gonna see in a second the direction they wanted to take.
I swear, that literally looked just like the opening
Yeah,
shot
the
of
ad shot was
Transformers
so
3.
horrible.
So basically, yeah, one of the problems I
Great
have with...
character design, am I right? Just this looks so horrible by any angle standpoint.
Jesus
It's like,
Christ.
see, it looks like it was drawn by Shadman.
Kill him.
Kill him. Drag.
I think even Mortal Kombat's outfits
Don't
would
tell
be
me
a
we're
bit more
jumping.
subtle.
Oh, okay.
No,
I thought we were gonna skip
no.
forward again.
No, we're gonna serve as our tutorial, essentially.
One of the big problems I have, one of the big things that really turned me off of Jack 2 back in the day was because of such a fucking
Edginess.
jarring shift it was in tone. Seriously.
Oh, another thing you may have noticed, but you're gonna notice also in a second. Every enemy now gets defeated in fatalities, kind of like style. Sometimes they lose their heads, sometimes they get cleaving up, and you can see all the blood.
You know,
Running off
Ubisoft, the first Prince of Persia was just rated T for teen. I mean, you don't have to make that jump to M.
I don't understand why they decided this particular direction.
Like, the weird thing is, like, well, see, unlike more darker, grittier ones, like, say, Bomberman X-Zero or, say, DMC the Reboot, this isn't even a reboot. It's literally a sequel.
Yeah, it's a direct sequel. It's the second game in the franchise.
Now I know someone will bring up something like, oh, well, the final season of Samurai Jack got ported to Adult Swim and was more violent.
Yes.
Yeah, but to be fair, Sam, that was sort of just pretty much doing the same thing they had done, except doing it to humans as opposed to just robots.
By the way, in case you're wondering, this game is glitchy as fuck. There are multiple audio. Oh, by the way, this soundtrack. Just listen how tasty it is. It's so tasty, just like a bowl of cereal. In the morning, it's like oh god,
Is this the ocean dub of Dragon Ball Z?
You know, it's really sad, but
it's so sad because I usually like the genre of rock metal that he's clearly trying to achieve, but this is just so generic and it's not catchy. You don't remember
It sounds like a Shadow the Hedgehog.
a single track from this game. Again, fitting, you know, am I right? And one of the new things is that the Prince can spin through columns and do special attacks. As I mentioned, the combat was the thing that was improved the most. So,
the only
on that
problem,
note, the gameplay is a bit more customizable.
here's the problem though, combat was never really the focus of Prince of
Yeah,
Persia, so congrats, you
exactly.
improved the one thing that really was never the focus of the Prince of Persia
This could have
series.
easily been just its own IP, and even that it would be still a shitty game. But Errol Flynn reference of all things.
How nice. Anyway,
So
though,
we need to kill the pirate. Yeah,
so it's
you're
more
fine with being
action.
involved.
It's action adventure.
Yeah, there are
So
still
it
some
could-
acrobatic stuff, but they're.
I'm seeing a lot of action.
It could be anything.
Dwebs, I'm seeing a lot of action, not much adventure though.
They got one part of it right.
you know,
guess,
Pretty sure there are games that I'm pretty sure there are games or movies or whatever that claim to be one thing but aren't at all. Like you know, I refuse to believe Pluto Nash is meant to be a comedy because there's no jokes.
I could actually still laugh at some of the jokes in Pluto Nash.
Like,
A better,
believe that Moonrise Kingdom is whimsical.
yeah, I think a better,
Yeah.
or that Knack 1 is supposedly more of a platformer than a beat 'em up.
Another thing you may have noticed is that. Thanks for the ass shot. Oh, another thing, this game suffers horribly from Sonic Adventure 2 syndrome, in the sense that the dialogues are so
The dialogues.
and another thing you'll notice, the models close-ups are so terrible in game. Especially the Prince face is so horrible. It wouldn't be a problem if the camera just focused out, but where you get this cutscene where the camera constantly zooms out on his face, and
just
it's
that,
so
but-
jarring to watch.
Truly using the power of the systems
question.
generation,
Go ahead,
wasn't it?
Question. Right after this tutorial, do we suddenly skip to either something before this or something after this?
Exactly.
Okay. See, here's the thing. It could have worked better if we started here, because a lot of games,
But-
games do like to start in the middle of an action scene for the sake of getting the tutorial out of the way, and just for the sake of getting the player immediately.
I know what you're thinking, Pedro, but this is not actually medias res. So we're gonna get a small cutscene set before this that will explain who is chasing the prince, and then jump immediately back after this fight.
By the
And
way,
you
have I
know-
mentioned how the enemy?
Can you still rewind time in this game?
Yeah, but you will acquire the power a bit later on. You may notice also that you regain this. Your sand meter is located by those discs under your health bar, and they refill automatically if you kill enemies, which they drop sands normally. Hmm? Well, shit. Now we don't even have a sword anymore.
Yeah, it's funny because remember how in the first game Yuri Lowenthal was putting on a British accent? Robin Atkin Downs is actually British.
Anyway, important. The prince is trying to reach a place called the Island of Time.
Sands were created. The place from which the Maharaja stole the hourglass.
Hold on.
They say the Maharaja found portals there.
The Maha.
One pass backwards through time. Back through time. To the birthplace of the
Wait, time travel? Well, then again,
Yeah.
there was time travel
Well,
in the first
yeah,
game,
yeah.
so...
Trust me, just
They'll
keep in
literally
mind the
call it
cutscene.
Sands of
Just keep in mind the. Hold on. Just keep in mind the cutscene. I'll tell you more later. So essentially, as a repercussion of what happened for the events of the first game, now the prince, being quote-unquote tainted by the sands of time, he was destined to die, but he survived, as we see.
kill those I fought beside.
Yeah.
Those I had loved. But now
But as a consequence of this, the sands kind of like have a self-correcting system that are trying to erase the prince from the timeline.
And that's why everybody's out to kill him?
you will die.
Not everybody, just a single being.
First time, making it as if the
Robin Atkin Downs is in Uncharted 4.
Uh,
There we
Robin
go.
Atkin does
Hold on.
a lot of mocap
The
and voices.
beast is called the Dahaka. Oh, I'm sorry. It's an American game. Since it's American, I should probably call it the proper way. The Taraka, as Final Fantasy IX were trying to put. This beast is just this conglomerate of black smoke where he's trying to chase the princess and will not stop at all. It's like the T-1000. So essentially, the prince, as a last resort, he wants to get on the Island of Time, use the time traveling portal on there to get to a point that he can prevent the creation of the Sands of Time, so the Dahaka will not have a quarrel against him, essentially.
You know, wouldn't it have been nice if we actually got shown a lot of these ramifications and then the plan from the get-go?
Yeah.
But I know what you were asking, Pedro, about the fact, oh god, there's time travel. Believe it or not, it's self-contained because all the time changes happen only exclusively on the island until the very end, where we see the prince manages to get to defy his destiny. Yeah, go away. So now we're stranded on the beach of the island with just a stick. Cue the Destiny Island theme.
Okay. I was also gonna say Undertale, but that works too.
I mean, we're on a beach with just with a wooden stick. So, although as you can see, the environment is so
Well, actually, Joe,
bleak.
in this... Well, actually, Joe, but considering the environment shouldn't be... What was the... Forgot... Yeah, that's it.
Well,
Again,
well, usually that only plays when we're being attacked, but I guess.
There is a reason why the environment here is because right now the island is in ruins. But just look at that. This is so boring to look at.
This is...
Wow, I mean, this
a game
is-
that suffers from Ultima 8 syndrome, isn't it?
I dare say that this game is even more gray and dull than the Order
Believe it or not,
1886.
we're gonna get a bit more colorful area later on, but they're just so spur.
Okay, I don't,
Yeah, like I said, it's... Let's go ahead.
I don't usually mind these kind of environments as long as what's going on in the story suits it. You know, I'm pretty sure I've, you know, I mean, I've seen films of this kind of bleak atmosphere, but they justify it due to their
Yeah,
plot. You know,
well,
Yeah.
technically it's justified, but it doesn't make it interesting at all. You don't really. Reminder: the game encourages to visually look at everything in this island, but I'm just so uninterested at this.
You know what would have been funny.
Oh, there you
If-
go.
if I
You
just tried-
say. Oh,
You'd like to try and remedy the complaints against the environment. They said the next one in like generic Rainbow Land or somewhere.
Okay. Now, as you've seen, the fountains now are your save points, and since the prince automatically drinks at them, he automatically refills his health bar. At
I mean, I
those.
can imagine an Ubisoft executive trying to pitch it. What do you want? Environments that dull your eyes, or environments that make your eyes bleed?
As a trade-off, they're not so common anymore as the revelation checkpoints in the previous game were. Also, another thing, every enemy and beast that you fight tends to scream so loudly in-game when you defeat them, it becomes annoying really fast.
So just like with Ultimate 8, everything is boring and grey.
You know, it's games like these that always do remind me that when it comes to Shadow the Hedgehog, while that game was obviously trying to be more dark and gritty, that game at least remembered what universe it was in and remembered to stay Sonic enough. More so than Sonic 06.
Oh, another thing, you can zoom out when you're using the fixed camera.
Not just that, but unless you're from software, you should never try to make an entire game of nothing but grey and dark colored stuff.
Unless it's intentional, like for example, what was called? It was another Ubisoft game that was similar kind of things to The Last of Us. I think it was called. It was an indie game released at the same time of, say.
I know what it's called.
Go ahead.
It was made with Ubisoft's franchise, but they call it The Last of Us.
No, whatever, I'll check the title in the meantime. For now, more enemies to fight, and since now you have a stick, this weapon damages so little. Another thing...
I love how the stick...
Then Naughty Dog preferred storyline game.
Whatever,
Another thing is that, since the combat is being quote-unquote improved, aside from new movements...
he stabbed him with a stick.
Yeah, the prince now can equip the secondary weapons, which unfortunately have a durability system, which translates into you can do a couple of hits with them before they break.
By the way, have I mentioned how the stick somehow makes a sword sound whenever it clashes with another enemy, and whenever he sheaves it, it makes a sword sound?
To be fair, the prince drops it almost immediately, so it's not a great loss.
Yeah, but even still, it's jarring.
That'd be like if you had an iron pipe, but it just makes a squeak sound.
There you go. The game I was thinking on is called I Am Alive.
I've heard of that one.
I tried to get it multiple times, but I never find a good sale, so I'm gonna wait a bit for the future.
It was made into... isn't it?
Yeah, PS3, Xbox 360, and in Steam.
And it was in 2012.
2012, exactly.
The only reason I remember that is because I watched the Toonami review of it.
Oh, they made that Toonami review of it?
Yeah, it was like the very first review they did when it was revived.
Oh, another thing, you have a map, but this doesn't help you at all. To give an idea, Pedro, think of the Great Crystal Maze map from Final Fantasy XII. It's completely useless. I don't even know why they bother implementing it. Anyway, cutscene.
It's tricky.
That's where we need to go, but as you can see, as you can see, the stairs have, the stairs have collapsed. We need to find that. Will be the case where we find the first portal. Anyway.
I think the graphics clash I think the graphics clash horribly with the models. It's like they're in a different game. Well, they're from a different game.
I kinda agree. And there you go, that's the first sword he gets.
So, let me get
My
this...
guess is, Dwebs,
So let me
they're
get this
using
straight.
the model from the first game, but didn't bother touching it up, I guess.
So let me get this straight.
Honestly, Pedro, the model of the prince in the first game looks way better than this one.
Yeah. So let me get this straight, Tio. The prince was armed with a stick. The villain almost has him, is sneaking up behind him. He manages to blindside her and slice her with the stick. Like, okay.
I heard this sound effect before.
Okay, look. I can get maybe stabbing her with the stick, but no, he swiped the stick, that somehow slashed her, got blood, and then he got the sword. Like, they couldn't have maybe waited until he had a sword before that? No, our great villain is defeated by a stick.
That's screaming sound clip though. Ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. That's exactly what
Stock
they
sound effect.
say, Pedro. That's exactly what they said, Pedro. Get used to it.
Huh.
Also, again, this serial music. Jesus.
You're trying
What
way too
happened?
hard, Mr. Composer.
Yeah, Dweebs, I'm sorry that you had critique over the first game you made, but it was gold compared to this one, trust me.
Well, again, yeah, there wasn't much music in the previous game anyway. So.
I'd rather have a more atmospheric than this shit.
I'm sorry, but
It's like we're not even trying.
What are you even supposed to do here?
Really?
No, I need to go back a bit and take another route. I was
sounds
just
like half-
showcasing a bit.
Half
Wait,
this
wait.
stuff doesn't sound like they just copied and pasted it from another game. I mean, didn't one of the Devil May Cry games have an environment like this?
So basically, so wait a minute. If we weren't supposed to go through there anyway, why did the game even bother putting us there?
Because it's the
Cutscene.
right place we need to go, but the wrong time. We need to use the first portal, which we'll do in the next part, and get in here where the stairs is still in place. And that's what we're gonna do in the next part. See ya.
Okay.
see ya.
See you, everybody.